I'm like a vice president of the company. So I do so many things. I have this, I have that. So many things are in place in my life. I'm kind of a well-established person in this world. Let's say if I have all of these things, and then I begin reading this, I can read this. I can also understand. I can even underline the lines which we discussed just now today. But I'll say we can understand, but we cannot remember. If we don't remember what to speak of following, we cannot follow. If we don't follow, we will not realize what this Krishna consciousness is. If we don't realize what happens, we will eventually keep this process aside and do our sense gratification. That means again, what is happening? When we do not understand this, we again come to the state of this bodily conception. We deal with our body, we deal with our intelligence. This is how we deal, and then this is how we lead our life, and then we move forward. Through this moving forward, one will not have any existence or sustenance because Prabhupada is very, very clear. These are not my words. These are not just the words of my spiritual master. These are the words of the Acharyas. Because when Acharya speaks something, that is the most important thing in this creation. That means when they say something, that is the golden rule for us. That means it is our true shelter. It is our true solace in our life. So if we have that attitude, if we have that mentality in place, then whatever we discuss, whatever we understand, it will make sense. And also the another important aspect which we need to always be careful is my spiritual master is my well-wisher. Srila Prabhupada is my eternal father. And his followers are also my eternal well-wishers. If I have this understanding in my life, then whatever they are speaking, we strive to follow, at least understand them. And then eventually we will follow this truth. So this clarity we need to definitely have, because what we are discussing is a very deep subject matter, very, very deep subject matter. So now a question will come, because Prabhupada is mentioning about impersonal philosophy, impersonalistic way of thinking, impersonalistic way of dealing in this world. See, the impersonalistic conception, it is not just like one set of people, they follow that, the impersonalistic tendency, impersonalistic behavior. No, no, no. This impersonalism is actually there in our heart also. What am I saying? The impersonalistic tendency is there situated in our heart. Why this impersonalistic tendency is situated in our heart? How do we understand? How do I understand that this impersonalistic tendency is in my heart? Let's say we are taking things, but we are not giving importance to the person who has given those things. At that moment, we need to understand we have this impersonalistic tendency in our life. I'll give another example. Let's say, generally, if somebody is giving us something, A, we simply eat, B, we don't care, C, we ask from where this is coming, D, who is doing this? Why is this given to me? E, if A and B is the mentality, then this leads to impersonalism. C and D is a questioning mentality, asking about the person behind that. This is personalism. This is not impersonalistic tendency. Because Srila Prabhupada is very clear here. This impersonalistic tendency is there in every jiva's heart. In every person's consciousness, this has been sitting. Because this is another realm of Kali Purusha who actually affect or impact our consciousness. This way also Kali Purusha works on our consciousness. Because why am I telling this is, the theory of impersonalism. What is the summary, sum and substance of the theory of impersonalism? The moment you leave this body, there is no existence. You go and merge into a state, not this state, into another permanent state. And that's how you are. You don't do anything, you lose your identity, and then you stay there. But to that, leaving the identity and staying there is actually is a solution Krishna is telling in this shloka. Now, another interesting aspect. Krishna told this 5,000 years ago. When did Impressionism came? When did the philosophy of Impressionism came? 1,500 years ago. That means since 5,000 years ago itself, Krishna has spoken the truth. But 1,500 years before this impressionistic philosophy came, that means what is that suggesting? That at that moment of time, the conception of Bhagavad Gita is lost. Now, how do I understand that the conception of Bhagavad Gita is lost? Because before that advent of Advaita, of impressionistic philosophy, Buddha came. Now, what did he do? Lord Buddha came, he said, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. There are no scriptures. You give up everything. No scriptures. King Ashoka followed that. Now, that is the whole point why in India, people started invading us. Because up until that point of time, nobody was invading India. Well, India was great. India was very rich also. Up until that point of time, India had a lot of gold, so many things. India was very rich. But as and when these personalities, this Ashoka started telling Buddham Sharanam Gaccham, that means a Kshatriya is giving up his duty. Please understand. Now that is the whole point. Now Arjuna, Krishna is telling Arjuna not to give up your duty. But when Buddha came, Lord Buddha is also incarnation of the Lord. When he came, he said, give up everything. And at that point of time, this king, he gave up everything. Through as he has given up everything, people have taken advantage of him. And that is where the invading to India began. That is where they started looting from the country. They started taking away everything from the country. Because Jiva, what is this world, dear devotees? This world is Jiva Jivas Jiva. What is that Jiva Jivas Jiva? If there is a cat, there's a dog. That means dog wants to eat the cat. There's a mouse, there's a cat. That means what? Cat wants to eat the mouse. That means one Jiva is a food for the other Jiva. Likewise, if a person is let loose, if a person is not leading his principles as expected. Now the purpose of a king is to what? Is to lead. But he's not leading the kingdom. What is he doing? He's giving up his kingdom. He's telling Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Then people started using that as an advantage. They started invading. Now why Buddha came? That is also important. Because previous to Buddha, all the Brahmanas, so-called Brahmanas, they started polluting. They are doing the yajnas, but they started eating the remnants of the yajna. Then they started using yajna as a source to do animal slaughter. Please understand. That means the scriptures, the conception of the scriptures changed. That means understanding towards the scriptures, following the scriptures completely changed. Perceiving the thing completely changed. Now, due to that, as we have Brahmanas started killing, that means what are they doing? They're disobeying, they're not following the four regulative principles. When Brahmanas do that, what happens? Society degrades. Due to that reason, Buddha came. He said, you are following the scriptures, doing all this nonsense. That's why he said, cut out all the scriptures. Then people started cutting out all the scriptures. And he started doing peace formula. Non-violence. No eating meat, no doing anything. Again, what is he doing? Slowly, he's stopping one problem. But that problem led to another problem. Now this problem has to be solved. What is the problem? People rejected scriptures totally. Nobody is following the scriptures. Now to curb out that, Shankaracharya came. To curb out that, Shankaracharya came, and what he started doing? He started doing, to do Panchopasana, worship of fire. That means again what is he doing? He's trying to reinstate the scriptures. But as part of reinstation, he added so-called philosophy called impersonal philosophy. Mayavadi philosophy. Because he had to add something now. That something has to cover up the Lord. That is the whole point of adding this. If he is not covering up the Lord, because he came to cover up the Lord only. On one side, he is reinstating the scriptures. We accept Shankaracharya because he reinstated the scriptures, but we don't accept Shankaracharya for his philosophy. Because that philosophy is showing you, I, everyone is God. Jiva can never be equal to God. That is foolishness, right? We are very insignificant. We can't even control our bowels. If we have to pass urine, we have to go. Can we stop the urine? No. I can't even stop the urine. How can I become the Lord? That means through falsity, go through falsity, it looks good. You God, I God, everyone is God. That's why we don't accept that philosophy, but we appreciate his word, his work, because he reinstated the scriptures. And then after that, our acharyas began manifesting. Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya. And the Lord personally came as an acharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and repropagated, reinstated Achinta Veda Abheda Tattva, which is a whole idea of our scriptures. Srila Prabhupada gives or leads his life as per what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling. And if you just follow his words, that is what he's telling. If you just follow his words, dear devotees, we don't have to create new. For example, I remember my wife, she has when she first, after marriage, when she first came to US, she had a small book. In that book, she wrote how to make preparations, how to make this boga, how to make that boga, how to make, various preparations. She learned from her mother. She wrote, this is this 5 spoons, this 2 spoons, this dal has to be this much. She has ingredients and then the approach of taking that presentation or that preparation. How? She received from her mother. What she did, she simply accepted mother as the authority, and then she incorporated everything in that book, and then she manifested that when she came here. It all came very nicely. What is the reason? She just followed what her mother said. She did not think, oh, this is 5, let me add 6, or this is only 2, let me add 4, or this is 5, let me do 8. This seems to be little less spicy. Let me add more. She did not do any of those things. When we don't do any of those things, then what happens? As it is manifested. Likewise, here we don't have to create anything new. Prabhupada is already given. Our Acharya is already given. By the life of the spiritual master, we already see that this is a bona fide process. I see him happy. If I follow, I will also be happy. Whoever is little following the science of Krishna consciousness, he is happy. There's no problem. The only problem comes when he doesn't follow. Then when the only problem comes when he doesn't hear. The only problem comes when he doesn't understand. That is where the problem. Krishna consciousness is a beautiful science. For whom? For one who follows. To follow what one needs to develop? One needs to develop a deep, deep connection to the words of the Lord. Because that is what the core relationship is established. That means for everything where we need to go, we need to go to the core. We cannot stand here. We cannot stay in between. There are 3 levels of understanding. So-called understanding. First is without understanding. Next is so-called understanding. Next is real understanding. Next is realized understanding. Without understanding, the person is not happy. 1 second, 1 second. Give me 1 second. So, what is the Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay? If someone can. Is it audible?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
So this understanding of trying to understand the absolute truth without any correlation. What were the four things? No understanding, so-called understanding, real understanding, realized understanding. Not understanding means person doesn't know. Person doesn't know what this Gita is. Person doesn't know who Krishna is. They might know from their own way of understanding, not the understanding of the acharyas. That is not understanding. Means person, he might also tell Hare Krishna, but he has no understanding what is this Hare Krishna is. That is level one. Second category is so-called understanding. So-called understanding are those personalities who come to the moment, they try to understand what this Krishna consciousness is, but they think that they are understanding what this Krishna consciousness is, but technically they don't understand. I'll tell again. They'll come to the moment, they'll hear from some people, they understand, oh, this is nice. They think that they know, but they cannot know. Because through the illusory state, they are thinking that they know. That's what Prabhupada is also mentioning. Impressionistic understanding, impressionistic way of understanding the truth is a truth which is understood under an illusory state. That means this illusion, what is this illusion doing? This illusion, through this illusion, what it is telling is, oh, you're not this body, you're a soul, but you'll merge into some shape or form. You will lose your identity. But to that itself, that is illusory understanding, right? But Krishna's, the so-called understanding is what? So-called understanding remains there. And the so-called understanding remains where? The other aspect of so-called understanding is what? I come, I try to learn. I think that I know, but technically I don't. I'm perceiving that I know. But to be honest, we don't know. That is so-called understanding. Third understanding is real understanding. What is this real understanding? Real understanding is hearing from the bona fide source. That means you should hear from authorized source. Who is that authorized? He should be in the lineage. He should be in the sampradaya. And not just that, he should lead the life of selflessness. Not the life of selfishness. He should lead the life of... He can tell others to be selfless, but if he is selfish, he himself is selfish. That is not helping. That is neither helping that person who is speaking, neither it is not helping the persons who are hearing from him. Please understand. Now, this is also another set of so-called understanding. So-called understanding is what? The person is actually on the selfish plane, but is proclaiming himself as selfless. He is proclaiming himself as selfless. That is also so-called understanding. And he wants others to be selfless. He himself is selfish, but he wants others to be selfless. Now, that kind of person, whoever is there under that person, he will suffer actually. The preacher, for example, the preacher, if he is in the selfish plane, and if he wants his followers to be selfless, then whoever is under him, they will suffer so much actually. Because that person will torture him. Because what is that person's motive? Personal motive to have followers. Through that, he will tell big things. But he doesn't have a desire to follow that. But he will insist. Matter of fact, he will force his followers to follow that. Due to that reason, the people who are there under him, they will suffer. This is so-called understanding. Through so-called understanding, people who are there under them, they will also suffer. Please understand. That means, through so-called understanding, what happens is, this person is looking for name fame. This person wants to become guru. This person wants to proclaim him that he is the superior. This person wants to show everything, entire ISKCON, that you see, I have so many disciples. This is so-called understanding. To proclaim this, to show himself on the top, he will put whoever is coming under him, he will force them. That's why whoever under them, they will also suffer. Forget about they will practice Krishna consciousness. No, they will not practice Krishna consciousness, but they will run away from the process. They will fry up. The heat comes to them. This is so-called understanding. Because that through that so-called understanding, neither that person is satisfied, nor the person who is there under him is satisfied. Because neither this person will get reflections, neither the persons who are there under him, they will get reflections. There's no question of reflections only. Because heart is in a chaotic condition. Heart will wonder, why am I here? What should I do? And then the heart will tell, is Krishna consciousness working to me? It's not working. Because what is happening? The person, he's in a frustrated state, he will give what? Frustration. But the truth will not give frustration. Actually, I'm thinking about this. Why frustration comes? Why is this frustration coming? People who follow Krishna consciousness also. For example, if there is frustration to me, why this frustration is coming? I'm just giving an example. If people have frustration, then why it is coming? You should ask that question. I'm in Krishna conscious. I'm following four regulative principles. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Why frustration is coming? There are few reasons for that. Why frustration comes is the person is having some expectation. First thing, the person is having some expectation. That means, I have expectation of going home back to God. Is that not good? No, that is good. That is spiritual expectation. That is good. You should have that. Prabhupada says nobody has a desire to go back home back to God. If you have a desire, that's good. I'm not telling about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about material desires. I'm talking about materialistic expectations. I'm talking about materialistic name, fame, profit, adoration. I'm talking about this, that, so many other nonsense in this world. I'm talking about this bodily conception. Expectation, no? This is also an expectation. When we have these expectations, we get frustration. Number one point. When I have this, I'll get that. Because Jiva cannot stay in between. Tatastha, he cannot stay in the Tatastha Shakti. Antarangika, he has to stay in the internal energy or in the external energy. He cannot stay in the marginal energy. The name itself is marginal. Marginal means it is dependent. It has to depend on the external energy or the internal energy based on his consciousness, based on his association. So our expectation should be divine. No, that divine expectation. That means you should have that expectation. Oh, my dear Lord, please give me reflections. Because if you don't give me reflections, how will I take this process? Oh, my dear Lord, please help me. Please give me conviction in the process. If you don't give me conviction, how can I continue? My dear Lord, please give me an opportunity to hear, to understand this truth every day. Because if I don't hear, how will I chant? Because if I put this hearing process aside, what spurti we will get, what inspiration we get to chant? No, this is a great lesson which I understood after meeting my instructing spiritual master. What is the greatest lesson which I learned from him is, first thing when I see him, he's not frustrated. Now I'll I'll see why this person is not frustrated. I've seen so many. Some are happy, but some are frustrated also. Why he is not frustrated? Then I understood through his association, he is not frustrated because he is completely happy. Or why is he happy then? He is happy because he is always connected. To whom he is connected? He is connected to Guru Parampara. Now, how do we understand that he is connected to Guru Parampara? Continuously, what is he doing? Now, when I came to this community as a guest, first, when I came to this community, I saw him and I saw everyone very happy, joyful. Then I understood, generally, we see only few devotees very happy, but here most of them are happy. Most of them are in a joyful state. Why is that? Then I understood that they're all hearing this truth every day. First thing, from whom they are hearing this truth? They are hearing this truth from a pure devotee. And what is that pure devotee's consciousness? This pure devotee's consciousness is always to serve the spiritual master. Is always to serve Srila Prabhupada. Is always to put them in this heart. Now he doesn't aspire to have realizations or reflections. He only has this goal to serve them. To the goal of service to those personalities, externally we see him happy, but internally he is always happy. Why? Because his target is that. That is his expectation. Now his expectation is not to have followers. His expectation is not to have name, fame, profit, adoration in this world. His expectation is to serve. Now when you saw that, this is what now we should cultivate. We are here properly telling in Gita that you should have that kind of association in one's life. Then I found how this is association which I need to take. Because through this, what is happening is, through this association, what is happening is, we can see what is right, what is wrong. Now, this is the third level of understanding, real understanding. We discussed two understandings. No understanding, so-called understanding, real understanding, realized understanding. What is this real understanding? Real understanding is hearing from a pure soul, continuous. When we hear the truth from those personalities, then what is happening is, slowly, the desire to perform pure devotion service will be manifested in us. Then what happens is you get reflections, realization. Realization means what? I'll tell there's a difference between reflection and realization. Reflection means they come and go. For example, if you are associated, if you are hearing the class, we get a reflection. Oh yeah, this is very nice. Yes, this is very nice. But we will forget that because it is a reflection. Because that is coming not through our desires. That is coming through their association. Because through their association we get the reflection. But after some time, what happens? That reflection fades away. Because we cannot hold on to that reflection. When that reflection is hold on, when we hold on to that reflection deepens. When that reflection deepens, that becomes your habit. When that habit continues, that becomes a culture. When that culture continues, then that leads to a realization. Realization means once you are in this state, you are not again in this state. Which state? Once you are in the internal energy, you are not again in the external energy. Pure devotee, that is a state of pure devotee. That's what I see in the heart of my spiritual master. Because he is in that state. I see in the life of Srila Prabhupada, I see in the life of very beautiful exalted Vaishnavas. They are in that state. That means they are not in the real understanding, but they are in the realized understanding. Through the realized understanding, what is happening is, through the realized understanding, whatever they speak is Krishna consciousness. Because what is happening? They are in Samadhi state. What do you mean Samadhi? Samadhi means something, we do it when person dies. No, that is on the bodily consciousness, bodily Samadhi. I am talking about Samadhi on a consciousness level. Samadhi means they are completely in their pure state. That means they don't see anything else other than that. That means they are in that state, in that realm. They are not in this realm. They are in that state. They are not here. They are there. From real knowledge, real understanding, what is happening? We get reflections. Reflections will deepen. It becomes a character. Becomes a habit. Habit, when it is deepened, becomes a character. Then when eventually the character will become a realization. And when that state is there, one will not look for this cheap happiness, sense gratification. Happiness through the senses, happiness through opposite sex. Those are cheap things. Because those things are for animals, not for realized souls. Human beings, we are also in that state only, animalistic consciousness. Because that realized understanding is not yet achieved. And these things are not to be achieved also, dear devotees. This has to be given to us. Nothing is nothing is an accomplishment. The devotee means he understands it's been given to me. Nothing is mine. It's been given to me. Everything is given to me. Because a couple of days back we were discussing with another devotee. He also he's a scientist in Hyderabad in a defense laboratory. He quit that job and then he came. He's doing service. We both served together. He's doing service. So yesterday we are neighbors. He's right in front of our apartment. Yesterday in the night we were discussing that how mercy of the spiritual master comes into our life and what we need to do to move to see that this truth is taken more, because we got real understanding, we got real association. Now we need to transform this real understanding, real association to realized understanding. To come to that realized understanding, what we should do, because surrender is also different levels. Krishna consciousness process is a very deep process. Surrender is also a different realms. Leading one simple life, that is one level of submission. Quitting his job, that is another level of submission. Working for the pleasure of acharyas, that is another level of submission. Continuously working for the pleasure of acharyas, that is another level of submission. He don't see anything else other than that is another level of submission. Through that seeing, he doesn't see anything else other than that. Within that, his focus is more on how to please the Lord, how to please the acharyas. He's doing everything. But within that, his internal consciousness is how I should please Krishna, how I should please Shri Prabhupada, how I should please my spiritual master. More important on all of this thing, how I should please this person. Because he gave this person, he gave this service to me. Now, no doubt, the service has been given by the mercy or the blessings of the acharyas only. But more personalism is what? This person gave me this person. Now, how I can serve this person? I know if I please this person, Baba will be very happy. That means what is happening? It is condensing. We should churn our consciousness more and more. Here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining impersonalism. In the school of impersonalism, they say, oh, there is no existence, there is no soul. But Krishna is telling, Nattunetam jatam asam, nattuneme janadipare. You stay in the past, present, and future. You stay continuously. What is the question? What is the question or telling or proving that you are not there? You do not exist here. Is there any proof for that? No, there is no proof for that. You do exist continuously. आप रहते हैं यार. You don't go anywhere else. You stay here continuously. We don't lose our identity. Krishna is telling, Sarve vayam ataparam. Sarve vayam ataparam. I stay here. What do you mean I lose my existence? No. So that means what is this proving? I have an existence. Now let's take another level. If this soul is material, or if this soul is temporary, or if this soul doesn't have any existence, or doesn't have any value, if this soul doesn't have any of these things, then if this soul is material, how this soul has an existence later? Or let's say if this is material, then Krishna cannot be material. If Krishna is material, then Bhagavad Gita doesn't have any value. But Bhagavad Gita is very authorized. Bhagavad Gita gives us the greatest lessons of the life. This is itself again proving that Krishna is out of these things. It's not part of this. So we cannot conclude that. That means I cannot say that the soul is also material, because it will never lose its identity. It will always stay. Does it lose its identity? It will not lose its identity. It will stay continuously. Because Krishna is confirming in Gita. Because Krishna is eternal. Just like we, Jiva, we are also eternal. But his eternality is eternal. His eternality is incomplete. Our eternality is minute. We are eternal, but qualitatively we are a very minute part and parcel. He is Vibhu and we are Anu. See, dear devotees, Whatever Lord has, He gave us that. A lot of people will say, Lord is not giving me anything. He's not doing this, not doing that. So many other things happening. This, that, so many things are happening. So many things are manifesting. But will that help? It's not helping us. That's our understanding. For example, if I say there is no God, that doesn't mean that there is no God. For me, there is no God. See, that means Lord is giving us the free will. Through that free will, we can choose whatever we want. Through our independence, we can choose whatever we want. We can choose impersonalism. We can choose personalism. That is our free will. That is our wish. We can go to impersonal liberation. We can go to Goloka. That is our wish. That is our desire. That means based on our desire, Lord wants us to give various opportunities. So if you don't want to have any personal relationships, go there. That is the understanding of the Lord. That is the realization of that is his vision. He's sharing that. If you want personalism, go there. If you want impersonalism, go here. That means he's giving us that independence. He's giving us that free will. Now it is up to us. If you are choosing that right independence, right free will, we are giving that independence back to the Lord. We are depending more and more on Him. Then our understanding changes. Then our vision in this world changes. Then our conception to this world drastically changes. Because we are not part of this. Please understand. You are seeing this body, but you are not that. The pain is afflicted to your body, not to you. But this hand is severely paining since 3 weeks. What to do? I have to go through it. To go through. Because at times, see, before this 3 weeks, we were not thinking, we don't think too much about this. If the hand it has a pain, we don't think too much about it. If it doesn't have a pain, but the moment it begins the pain, then our consciousness is invested there. That means what are we trying to do? We are trying to repair this as soon as possible. Why? So that we can use or engage this hand in the service of the Lord more. Now, what is a bodily conception? Or what is a spiritual conception? Spiritual conception is something superior and something sublime. So what is a spiritual conception and bodily conception? If we are looking our happiness through this bodily state, that is where we are. If you are looking to get happiness through spiritual discussions, through spiritual services, through spiritual chanting, hearing, all these things, then our happiness is there. Dear devotee, sincerely I am telling. If you sincerely chant, today in the morning when I was chanting, I was thinking about this. Every mala I should chant for my spiritual master's happiness. Every mantra I should chant for his happiness. The more I begin to think like that, the chanting is unknowingly it is improving. I'm not putting strength also in that. Unknowingly it will improve. It will improve for us, definitely. All we need to do is we need to become sincere. We need to do some sincere efforts. That means I should do. Srila Prabhupada will be happy. Just I should do. Just I should hear because he told me to hear. This is submission, dear devotees. We don't have to do anything else. We have to do what they are telling. Every spiritual understanding, we should take this resist. We cannot change it, just like I told now. My wife prepared a manual through her mother. She did it as is. She did not change it. What happens? It becomes good. It comes good. Because Krishna is saying what? Krishna is saying that submission. Krishna is seeing that approach. Krishna is seeing the character. We can go precisely also. If you love them so much, we go precisely. Precision, we go deep. Precisely we want to do that service. Because that is what will give happiness or satisfaction. Because in Satchit Ananda, Ananda is there in all aspects. In Sat there is Ananda. In Chit there is Ananda. In Ananda there is Ananda. Please understand. Why am I telling this is Satchit Ananda is on the absolute plane. Just like Asat, Achit, Nirananda. In three of these things there is no happiness. Just like in three of these things there is no happiness, which is in the material world. Quite opposite to that is the spiritual realm. Satchidananda, there is complete happiness in all of these things. That means through Sat we have happiness. How do we understand that through Sat we have happiness? Through Sat we have happiness because the moment we understand that I am eternal, I am happy. For example, if a person has a cancer, but is a pure devotee, he understands that Sat is happy, he'll embrace that cancer. He's not worried with that cancer. Please understand it. So this logic we need to understand. Sat is very, very prominent in all that. For example, there is some problem. Somebody is telling you something, or your wife or husband, they're telling you something. That's okay, you accept. What is the problem? You're Satana. If you want to correct, you just correct. If you want to do, if you want to make them happy, just do that and then finish off that. Finish off that business. Don't dwell too much into that. Don't be absorbed in that. If the husband wants you to do something, just do it. The wife is wanted to, if the wife is asking something, just try to do it. If you cannot do it, just try to express. This is not, I think this is not right. I feel this is not good. Be clear. If you are not clear, what happens is you will do speculation. She will also do speculation. This is important here about it. Between husband and wife, this is important. You should have that proper communication. I see so many times problems will come only through improper communication. If the communication is very proper, it's clear. मैं बोल दिया ना आपको 2 दिन पहले. That's it. You tell that. You told her a couple of days back. That's it. There ends the matter. There is no discussion after that. If you want clarity, then let's do this better in the next time. That's it. हो गया ना? Because when we have a clarity, precision in our life, then what happens? You don't deal with unwanted things of this world. Because what is the most important thing which you are missing here? Speculation. You are not doing speculation. Because what is impressionism? Speculation. Prabhupada says, don't do that. Now, at one state, Krishna avoided the bodily conception, and then later on, will he bring the bodily conception again? Is that not foolishness? That means the soul losing the identity means a temporary plane, no? Can that be in the temporary plane? The bodily conception is already taken away. Will the Lord speak again the bodily conception? No, he will not speak. That means if you are acting on the bodily conception, that is another problem. That is our problem. That is not problem of Krishna. That is not problem of the spiritual master. That is our problem. The moment you curve that, you are in the spiritual state. Because that is not who you are. We are not this. We are not like Mataji or we are not Prabhuji. You are a powerful spirit. So part and parcel of the Lord. That means both Mataji and both Prabhuji, they have equal responsibility. They have equal chance to correct in this very lifetime. You don't have to take another one. You can correct in this very lifetime and then go back and back. Now this we need to ask. Bhakti बोल तो यही है. This is bhakti. Practical. You should understand the subject, try to follow that clearly, and then please our acharyas. That is the goal. Now this we need to take more into consideration. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Anyone would like to add any questions? Would like to share? So very, very beautiful purport. It's more to discuss actually. The statement of Krishna is authoritative. Cannot be subject to illusion. That means when Krishna says you are eternal, that is not illusion. That means that is not untruth because it is directly spoken by the Lord. Now he is telling that I remember everything. Now, we don't remember that. That is also his telling. See the clarity. Just like Satchitananda, We are eternal, but right now we are kept in this material plane. Due to that reason, we don't remember. We don't remember. That doesn't mean that we are not eternal. We don't remember only. उतना ही है. You don't remember what happened in your previous life. That doesn't mean that you are not eternal. You are eternal because you will have an existence after this life. The moment you leave this body, you get another body. If you finish off this business, you come back to God. Simple enough. That means when the only problem comes when we take the words of the Lord as illusion, or when we don't give importance to this truth more, or we don't understand or analyze this truth more. That is a problem. This, if you see, this is nothing in our hands. क्या bro? आप ऐसा बोल रहे हैं? What is this, bro? You are telling? I see a cell phone in my hand. I'm not telling that. There's nothing in my hands means I cannot control anything. I seems to be controlling, but that's not the control. अरे, so it's a very, very interesting subject matter, dear devotees. Consulted Vaishnava Acharyas, they give us so much. And another aspect, non-devotees cannot understand Gita. No matter how much they read, how much they do, no, so much. Bhakto sime saka chete rahasyam etam uttamam. It's only for devotees. That's why we should aspire to become a devotee. When we become a devotee, then all these things will be revealed to us. Aspire for the mercy. Hare Krishna. That's what Prabhupada is telling here. The non-devotee's approach to the teachings of the Gita is something like that of a bee licking on the bottle of the honey. One cannot have a taste of honey unless one opens the bottle. Similarly, the mysticism of the Gita can be understood only by the devotees. No one else can taste it, as it is stated in the 4th chapter of the book. Nor can the Gita be touched by persons who envy the very existence of the Lord. Therefore, the Mayavadi explanation of the Gita is most misleading presentation of the whole truth. Hare Krishna. So beautiful. Oh, where do we get this, dear devotees? You pay $1 million, do you get this kind of happiness? So, the world is a useless place actually. This world is only used to cultivate Krishna consciousness. Anything which is not there for cultivation of Krishna consciousness, so useless. That means it doesn't have any identity. Doesn't have any existence. Hare. Thank you. Anyone would like to add anything? Otherwise, we'll stop it here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranama Krishna. Thank you
Hare
so much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji, for wonderful, especially, in this material age, sometimes looking, as you mentioned, licking the honey from outside will not give you the actual taste. So if we have to taste the honey, we have to go to the actual nectar, go to Krishna, devotees, and then only we can have that. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has forbidden us to read commentation made by the Mayavadis and warns that one who takes such understanding of Mayavadi philosophy loses all power to understand the real mystery. If individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of the teaching by the Lord. The plurality of the individual soul and the Lord is an eternal fact. That means individual soul will be there eternally. The Lord will be there eternally. Because Lord can never leave, can never leave his devotees and then stay. That is why he gave that. The individual soul is the devotee of the Lord. Now that devotee will always be with the Lord. That is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed in the Vedas as mentioned above. Such a clear understanding. So fortunate actually to have wonderful movement of ISKCON and wonderful souls, Bhaktis and Krishna consciousness. If we just follow their words, just repeat what they're sharing, just trying to lead our life to the best possibility, oh, we make a lot of progress. Because this is what exactly happens in the spiritual world also. In the spiritual world, we serve a devotee. Through that devotee, we serve Krishna. Just like elderly Gopi is serving Mother Yashoda. Elderly Gopi is not directly serving Krishna. She's serving Mother Yashoda. She's giving Mother Yashoda this, she's bringing Mother Yashoda that, she's trying to cook, she's trying to wash, she's trying to take care of the cows for the pleasure of Mother Yashoda. Because Mother Yashoda, because through that, Mother Yashoda is directly serving the Lord. Because all of them, they're assisting. It's like Tulsi Maharani, so many devotees are assisting her in the spiritual world. Vrinda Devi, so many devotees are assisting her. That's the whole reason Prabhupada established this organization, to cultivate that consciousness. That means when we become free from all these anarthas, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsara, come to the plane of selflessness, surrender, submission, then, then we dwell in this more and more. Otherwise, we'll be deluded. We'll be in delusion. Hare Thank you. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and the Pranam all grace to Prabhupada. Thank you for leading the call today with a wonderful lecture. Thank you everyone for listening today. All nice to Divani. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Karina. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai Mashamta Pramamsa Privraj Kacharya Darshi Shimaresi Bhakti Vrinda Samaraj Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
ISKCON Bhagavati Founder Acharya Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Mashamta Pramamsa Privraj Kacharya Darshi Shimad Bhakti Vrinda Samaraj Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Anandakoti Vishnu ki jai.
Jai.
Namacharya Sar Dastakur ki jai.
Jai.
प्रेम से कोशि कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री ऋतिक राधे शिव श्री गौर भक्तिवृंद की जय।
Jai.
श्री श्री राधे कृष्ण गोपी गोपीनाथ श्याम राधे गौरी गौरंग की जय।
Jai.
क्षमापुर धाम की जय।
Jai.
श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय।
Jai.
श्री जगन्नाथपुरी की जय।
Jai.
गंगा माया की जय।
Jai.
यमुना माया की जय।
Jai.
तुलसी देवी की जय।
Jai.
भक्ति देवी की जय।
Jai.
श्री नाम संकीर्तन की जय।
Jai.
समवेत भक्तिवृंद की जय।
Jai.
नित्य गौर परमानंद हरि हरि बोल।
Hari Hari Bol.
All glories to the Samandavati Sri Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the Samandavati Sri Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the Samandavati Sri Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namam Mishmraya Krishna Mishra Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Avananda Samati Namani Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Bishani Nirvishisha Sunivari Prashadishtarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Rita Radhe Shri Sri Gauravaktivinda Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangamalam Kadagari Makripati Maham Vande Shri Guru Tritanam Paramanand Madam Shri Chaitanya Ishram Karve Gorjinara Radhika Tirale Krishna Krishna Bhakta Bhakta Namaha Panjagabdir Shakri Visme Evicha Paritam Pavane Bhavashna Namaha Hare Krishna, everyone. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Karina Mataji ki jai. His Grace Nilkan Prabhuji ki jai. Shamataji Balram Prabhu Nilkan. Sunita Mataji Sujilpa Mataji ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Then Pranam. All Krishna Prabhupada.